Throughout my life, the 10 rings gave our family power. If you want them to be yours one day, you have to show me you are strong enough to carry them.
You are a product of all who came before you. The legacy of your family. You are your mother. And whether you like it or not, you are also your father.
I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right.
You're just a criminal who murders people.
Be careful how you speak to me, boy.
I thought I could change my name, start a new life. But I could never escape his shadow.
My son, you can't run from your past.
Is this what you wanted?
You got this.
Thank you.
Jab, left foot, right hook.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Quotables, and for the first time in a while, we are doing a video recording along with our audio recording, so you get to see our dumb faces. Speaking of dumb faces, let me introduce my co-host, Ernie.
Hello. How are you, dude?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, dude. I'm excited for this movie. So excited, in fact, that I've watched this movie 3 times.
And what movie would that be?
Now, we are going to be discussing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
The Legend of the Ten Rings, you say? Wow. Another Marvel movie that is part of our new releases little phase we're doing here. It's the newest entry in the Marvel universe, and let me just say, what an entry!
Definitely. This is the beginning of Phase 4, right?
Phase 4,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Let me tell you a little something too before.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Initially, after Endgame and all that stuff, like. Now when I thought, I'm like, okay, like it's over, right? I mean, all the heroes I knew and liked and really knew about, it's like, I don't really care what's going to come next. Wrong. I watched this movie and I was like, wow, I am still going to be excited for whatever these guys come up with, because this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I agree with you. I didn't think literally after Endgame, I was like, I don't know where they can go after this. Like, I didn't see, because obviously, I mean, if this is going to be a spoiler cast, like we all know how Endgame ended, right? And so with that being said, you're like, you lost a lot of like the really popular heroes that like was like they spanned 10 years of our lives basically, and then going into this guy who like I've never heard of Shang-Chi. Like I know that there was a Chinese a superhero that was like a thing, but I didn't know anything really about him. So going into it, I was like, not that I wasn't excited, but I wasn't at the the same level as I was of the other Marvel films that we previously saw, dude. I was so surprised, dude. I'm so glad that this movie did so well. And dude, I love Simu Liu. Like, he's an awesome actor. I've watched him in like freaking Kim's Convenience, and he comes out in a show with Aquafina in one of the episodes. But dude, great movie overall. Definitely excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and you talk about all the characters that we knew and loved, like kind of just going away, but it's not true. They're still going to be there. We got Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's true. Yeah,
he's coming out. So they're still around, but we're gonna have more of these guys into play, which I'm excited. So let's talk about it. And you did mention you like Simu Liu as our title character, and I don't think I've ever seen him anywhere, but let me say I really enjoyed him. He played the character very well. He was perfect for the role. I really enjoyed his character, and it's funny. I don't know if you see on the internet with all the little stock photos. I guess he was in or something like that.
Oh yeah, those are awesome. They're like the little memes that people are making. Yeah,
those are sweet. But
because I think he had started his career as like doing that, and then I think and I saw him on YouTube as well. He used to do like this. I think he did like the Asian Bachelor, like on YouTube. Like it was like a thing with a couple other like prominent
that's
like Asian YouTubers. But I just remember seeing him there. But he wasn't like super like where I knew him, kind of thing. But I just knew about it. But yeah, dude, I agree with you, dude. Like, I was genuinely surprised that they chose him. I think he had there was like a tweet like years ago in 2018, maybe or something like that, before the movie even started, kind of getting picked up. And he said, "Hey, Marvel, how do I get in?" or some in that realm of a tweet. And then, dude, he became Shang-Chi, bro, which is crazy.
That's pretty cool. See, if you just got to post on Twitter, you might get into the movies.
I know. I'm gonna start freaking posting up that I want to be in the next freaking Downton Abbey movie as
Lord Chubbs.
I was gonna say something like that too. I couldn't think of anything.
Chabias. What about Aquafina, man? I think Aquafina is always fun in movies. I always enjoy her.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny because if you saw Raya in The Last Dragon, she was in that movie, and this movie kind of had those similarities. Like at the end, I'm just like, oh, this kind of. I think she's going to turn into a dragon. But
I know. I think she plays usually the same character, right?
Usually, yeah. But then they play really well off each other. Like they have a really good chemistry. Like, and it wasn't that forced romance either. Like they had little hints, but it never was really. It was just more about friendship, like the bond in their friendship, and that I think I like the most about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like her a lot, and I'm glad that you enjoyed her as well, because like going into it, I had a few buddies of mine that didn't like her being in that movie for some reason, but I just don't think that they were fans of Aquafina herself. I think like they're annoyed by her.
They're more like Dasani's.
They're more like Arrowhead. No, but I really enjoyed their chemistry between like Simu Liu and Aquafina in the movie, which was kind of weird because they were like really great friends, but there was like the realm of possibility in that moment where they can actually be a couple. And I think like they hint at it when like the grandma says like, "When are you gonna marry her?" like in the beginning of the film, and then like you don't get anything after that, and then you get them hugging at the end, and I'm like, when are they gonna kiss? Like this is the movie. You remember like we were talking about in Jungle Cruise where like Emily Blunt and The Rock, right? We're like, we don't really want them to kiss, but they do. Like this is like the complete opposite. I'm like, I really wanted them to kiss, like to see where they can.
I didn't really care. I mean, maybe it'll be explored later.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm fine without it, and it still worked either way because in the end, it's all about the love of family.
Oh, that's true.
So let's introduce another character, which is the father. The dad's name is I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Zoe Wen Wu, played by Tony Leung, who I guess he's very popular. He's a very popular actor in foreign movies, right? It's like his first English-speaking movie, even though he knows how to speak English very well. And he played one of the better Marvel villains I've seen in a long time. All being besides Thanos, but what do you think?
No, dude, I agree with you. That's funny that you say that. I think one of my favorite Marvel villains for some reason is Ultron. I know a lot of people really didn't care for that movie, but I really liked that character. But dude, if I were to choose between any of the Marvel villains, dude, Tony Leung is like probably one of my favorites, dude. He has like sweet ass Birkenstocks when he's fighting. Like, dude, it just I kept praising his acting, like even to my wife. She's like, "Oh my god, like stop!" Like I'm like, "No, he's really good. Like he's selling this character because one of the big things
for him, you kind of root for him a little.
Yeah,
bit,
exactly.
Right?
One of the big things about villains is like they always have something that justifies them being villains, right? And I think his was a lot more grounded than any of the other villains that we had previously met, because we can, I guess, relate to him, right? Because he wants to have more power, so he doesn't have to like not be able to kind of not get what he wants in a sense. But then after he gets everything he does want, he realizes that there is nothing else for him, and then it's when he falls in love, which we'll get into. But and then that's justified, and he gives away all his power, and then you get the sense that he's gonna become this like greater man because of his wife. And then obviously we know what happens, and he goes back into it, but just great overall character, dude. I think I'm so glad that he was in it.
Well, let's just go into it then, because he meets his wife, which is played by Fala Shen, and her name is Lai.
I think, yeah.
And that little scene in the beginning when they're fighting is really a beautiful scene. That little flower dance or whatever they're having, and she's, this whole time it's showing how strong and powerful he is with these 10 rings on, but he can't fight this girl because maybe it's because of the love, right? That he might have. He's developing for her.
Yeah, well, she has the power of like the defender or the dragon, right?
Oh,
it's kind of why she's able to kind of like stay up to par with him. So like beautifully like choreographed. That's one big thing I want to say about the movie. So well choreographed, like everything. I think this is probably one of the best choreographed Marvel films since Captain America: Winter Soldier. I don't know if you remember when like
some of the best fights I've seen for sure.
Definitely, dude.
No, yeah, I agree with you, man. The fights are amazing. They're one of my favorite parts of the movie, especially that bus scene. I was like, once I saw that scene, like that point in a movie where you're like, okay, I really like this movie. That was like the point where you're like, all right, I'm into it.
I know, it's great.
I already was but I'm like right there. I was like, hell yeah, this is a sweet ass movie.
And that excuse me, that guy that's like filming them, he's the guy that comes out in Spider-Man. What's the first Spider-Man? Homecoming. He's the one that tells Spider-Man to do the backflip. Remember?
Really? Oh,
that's the same guy. So cool. Random little
the
like
universe just grows. He was pretty funny too. Then then we also have his sister played by Menger Zhang. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. And her name is Xiling in the movie. This is her first acting role, it looks like, and she did very well. I think she was great in the movie, and then we'll get into the spoilers at the end credit scene of what that made me mean for the future. But yeah, like I think she held her own up against like these, like not all veterans, but mostly veterans of a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that have been in like these English kind of movies, especially because from kind of seeing her filmography, I was looking into it on IMDb, and she doesn't have a lot of roles, so I'm assuming this is like her first foray into any English type of movie. And so like seeing her kind of like hold up her own in the movie and like really stand out, like this is a thing about like certain like I guess actors is when they can just like basically stand out in any scene, and usually she was like a scene stealer, and luckily all the characters in this movie were like very evenly matched in set of skills. Like they all did a great job, but like you can tell certain people would stick out. Like she would stick out a little bit more than Simu Liu, who was like the main character, which is awesome because like that's exactly what I like to see is like characters that kind of stand out, like Yuri and in Black Panther, right? Like everybody loves her and stuff like that.
Especially like the more unknown like actors, than the unknown characters as well. Like they make it so good that you're like, okay, I'm interested. Like I know this, I want this world. Like so it's just really really fun. And we'll talk about some more characters that pop up in here and there.
I was hoping you were going to talk about Ben Kingsley coming up.
We'll get to him.
Yeah.
So basically, this movie is about the 10 rings, and basically his dad is sending to get these little pendants that they have, these little necklaces that him and his sister have to open a key because he claims, because his mom passed away from a group of assassins. And I really enjoyed the flashbacks. Like the flashbacks were really good. Like they always like tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. Especially the one where like he goes to meet up with the assassins that killed his mom and like has little Shang-Chi and he's like, those are them, and he's like, yes, and he like beats them all up.
Oh, dude, that was
that was intense.
Yeah, that was a great scene. I want to say something before we move on from that particular scene. So I've watched the movie 3 times. I saw digital, Dolby, and then IMAX. In that order. And when one of my buddies, Jason, he told me like, dude, you got to watch it IMAX because like there's this particular scene where that scene that we were just talking about, like where he like uses the 10 rings to finish the guy. He goes like, I don't know where he is. I don't know, or whatever. And he just freaking like goes, oof, like hits him hard with it. Dude, through IMAX, dude, you could feel that. And I was like, dude, that was sick. I was like, that was such a, dude, whoever did the audio to this movie as well is like, dude, they need a freaking raise, bro. Like, they did a good job. Like, when you would hear Tony Leung's 10 Rings, like when he would just talk and you could hear like, you know, like them like kind of clamping to each other. Oh, so well done, bro. I was like, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. But yeah, in this movie, you know, we see that Shang-Chi is being trained to be like an assassin, and then we have him. Basically, it's told through flashbacks throughout the movie that he was sent to go kill the guy who killed his mom, which he ends up doing. But it shows like he didn't do it, but he really did. But like, yeah, so like that's basically what, like the whole rundown. And I mean, starting obviously in the beginning, I like he's just a valet driver with him and Aquafina for, you know, it's kind of played like for comedy and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And which is good. You know,
I want to tell you something about the Simu and that like, you know, he's training him to be the assassin. Now I have never read the comics. I'm sure you haven't either. But do you think that his father was training him there and then like that difficult, or not difficult, but that hard, so he can be basically a weapon, not just for his use, but so if anybody does try to assassinate him, like they murdered his mother, like he'd be ready. You know what I mean? Like kind of training him to like not ever fall prey to that kind of moments in his life, you know, again. Because
even he says when he finally meets up with them, he's like, "I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they could," and he's like, "I was right." Yeah, because I think also like it comes back to it because he also blames him for his mother's loss. Like he's like, "You saw her die and you did nothing." Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's kind of like is also like his reasoning also behind it, to be like, now you're gonna train to like protect and do, you know what I mean? Like, as it's interesting, there's like these little moments of fatherness that he kind of like gives out, you know, he's an evil guy, but he still loves his kid. Like we said before, this movie is about family, very dysfunctional, but you know, they love each other, and you could see that in certain scenes in the film. No, yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, and then the whole journey, you know, it starts after they get attacked after the bus scene for that little pendant. That's when, you know, Shang-Chi kind of tells Aquafina's character, what's her name in the movie? I forget what it's called. Katie's character. You know the whole story, and then they have this little banter when they're on the plane going to go meet the sister. He's like, how do you say it? Shang? He's like, Shang. He's like, so you went from Sean? You went from Shang to Sean? He's like, no wonder they found you. It's pretty sweet. He's like, it's like changing your name. My name is Gina, and I'm going to change my name to Gina or something like that. Yeah, some shit like that. That's so dope. But I like how it's all intense. He's telling like the backstory, and then like the lady on the flight attendant's like, "Hi, would you guys like vegetarian and vegetarian or beef?" Like, yeah. Oh, we don't have it. Do you want beef? Sure, we'll take the beef. Yeah. You know what? Looks like we don't have the beef. Like, it's just so stupid. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll take the only thing I can get." Like, it's so stupid. So funny, dude. So yeah, they meet the sister at this cool ass. Well, I mean, they don't meet her yet, but they go to like this fight club, and the dude that walks them through, is the death dealer, I believe he was. His name's Andy Lee. Oh no, he is. Oh, the death dealer is the guy that's the guy that's all white. The guy that he fights, and he's like the one that's training him. That's the death dealer. The guy that he's the one that's with like the sister or whatever. Yeah. I'm not sure his name. He's like some random dude that basically kind of like leads them through like this whole freaking like fight areas and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like he's all, what does he say at one point? He goes, "Always bet on the Asian when you see her again." Oh yeah, so stupid. Yeah, it's so random, but yeah. But then like as they walk in, you see that two familiar characters are fighting: Abomination from the Hulk, and gosh, what's his name now? I'm forgetting his name. Who? Sorry? The guy from Doctor Strange. Oh, the guy. Oh, freaking. Oh my God, why is that slipping my head? I was like talking about him the other day. Freaking. Wu. Something like Wu, that. Right? That's what yeah, I think it's Wu. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure. Sorry, guys. We should. No. That's a random character. He's not really put into like the IMDb and stuff like that. Wong. Oh, Wong. Yeah, because I think that he was like kind of like a surprise character. Played by Benedict Wong. Yeah, his name is Wong. Is Benedict. He was one of those characters that they were kind of trying to hide, but they ended up showing him in the trailer with the Abomination. So people were like, "Oh my God, the Abomination's here!" Because theories and all that. Yeah, because Phase, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's either Phase 0 or Phase 1
the Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, is one of the first phases to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just a lot of people don't talk about it. Obviously they got rid of Edward Norton, but you know what I mean. He's that story is a part of this universe.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, he sees him, which he's an important character later. He comes back, and that's when he meets up with the sister, and you know she's hesitant because he walked out on her, said he'd be back, never did, so she was all upset. And basically that's when the place goes into lockdown because the dad sent everyone there, obviously, which is another sweet ass fight scene on the little scaffoldings. That whole scene is pretty dope.
Yeah, dude, I want to talk about that scene if I may.
You can.
Little pigglies and wigglies here. Dude, that scene was, like you said, was great. Dude, it reminded me of like old Jackie Chan films, dude. And my hands are sweating right now thinking about it. No, it reminded me of like those old Jackie Chan films that he used to. You remember, like, I'm not just talking Rush Hour because there's bamboo that they're climbing. I'm talking about like his other films like Rumble in the Bronx and like, you know, that like again, very well choreographed fighting sequences. But just overall, dude, like that scene was like, it was so in line with like old Asian style cinema kind of like films. You know what I mean? Like those Jackie Chan ones.
Oh, is that what you're gonna say? Sorry, I thought you were
gonna No. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
It's just because like I feel like a lot of people haven't really discussed that, like don't really give it praise on certain areas.
A lot of like those, like, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style and all that.
Oh
stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it was really good. And then
he goes Chinese bamboo, very strong.
They end up getting caught by. That's when we see the dad again. And he's like, oh. And yeah, he tells the story with everybody, you know, about what happened. Like you had mentioned, like he fell in love. He ended up, you know, putting the rings away. He's like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this life. And it came back to haunt him, killing the wife, which is why all this stuff kind of happened. And the reason he was getting those necklaces because he says he hears his wife's name, his wife calling his name behind the cave. I forget what the cave was.
I forget too. I think if I'm not mistaken, bro, one of the things that I was looking into, I think that's one of the 7 pocket heaven dimensions. I'm not sure if you ever saw, well, we were talking about this the other day, but you've talked about Iron Fist. Remember that you were talking about Iron Fist? Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Marvel show that they had on Netflix, but I think they talk about one of the 7 pocket dimensions that's very similar to the one in Shang-Chi, and he kills the dragon to become Iron Fist, I think. I don't remember. I didn't finish it, but like I think that there's like 7 of them, and that's one of them, and that's housing that crazy demon sucker, soul sucker, dude.
The soul suckers, the sorrow suckers.
I was gonna say, do you remember? This is random. Do you remember Mortal Kombat the movie at all?
The new one?
Yeah, newest one. Yeah,
I haven't watched it.
Not that well. Okay, well, there's no. You haven't watched it?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. So this is one moment. One of the characters, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a character named Cabal, and then there's dang, I forget his name, Shang Tsung, and he sucks souls. You remember the game? He does that.
Yes.
Yeah, he sucks one of the characters' souls, and then Cabal goes, he's sucking his soul. He says it's so weird.
Cheesy.
It's so cheesy, but I was thinking about that when that was going on in the movie. But continue.
Yeah. You made me lose my train of thought a little bit.
No worries, dude. That's why I'm here, dude. I'll bring you back.
I mean, you've seen it 3 times. You should know this movie by the back of your damn hand.
I kind of do, but like it's a little scattered brain in my mind, just because the way I saw him was like this, like different times and the way I felt, you know. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, I didn't really know if I cared for this movie that much, and then I was like, I thought about it, I'm like, I really enjoyed it. The second time, I took a little nap during the middle. I was tired, dude. It was like really early, and then the third time is when I really enjoyed it.
You're getting old.
I know, dude. It was just so cold.
You're gonna have a kid. You're gonna be like,
I'm a little Shang-Chi. I'm gonna call him. I know. That's why everything's coming out streaming, though, dude. I'm waiting for that nice Warner Brothers freaking HBO deal that they got going right now.
Yeah, dude. So yes, so the dad reveals that, you know, the mom's behind all this, and obviously they're not buying it. They get imprisoned, and this is where they find a familiar face in the Marvel universe, Trevor Slattery, played by Ben Kingsley, who, if you had not seen Iron Man 3, spoiler alert, he is playing the Mandarin, which he's technically not the Mandarin. He's just an actor for the real Mandarin, who is revealed to be Tony Long's character, he mentions, right? He says, I was the Mandarin at one point because he had many names. But he's back. He's back, and he's like the comic relief for sure. I mean, besides Aquafina, but he's like the comic relief for sure. And I don't really know much about that history of the Mandarin stuff. It's a little confusing to me.
Yeah, there is. I can kind of like tell you a little bit.
Give us a little break.
So in the beginning of the film, something we didn't discuss is that they're kind of telling you the story of Wen Wu, right? So the dad, and he had been alive for like thousands of years when he got the rings, and basically he was like this really big like warlord throughout like the ages. So he was always like toppling governments and like basically controlling things with the group he had, which was the 10 rings, and which is like pretty cool because like they never discuss this in any of the Marvel films, but he's always behind something. So he'd always been there when like, you know, Thanos was snapping his fingers, when all that stuff was going on. They were there doing stuff. We just don't hear about it. But I do want to mention one thing because we're talking about that, like that beginning scene. In the beginning, he's met with fear and misunderstanding. Do you remember when he like all the people are like scared that he's like he has the long sweet hair that they added to him, and then he like freaking throws the rings or whatever. And then, well, I'm gonna have to cut to the end, but at the end he's met with like when he's trying to break into the location where his wife is supposed to be. He's met with like calmness and wisdom, right? Like everything changed in that moment because like they're not scared of him anymore. Like they're like able to kind of fight him off, which is kind of cool. I just thought that was a cool little contrast between that. But yeah, continue.
Interesting little tidbit. Yeah, but you know, Trevor Slater, and he's there with his little pig. I forgot what the little pig's name is.
Well, you don't know his name? His name is Morris, bro.
Morris. I don't know.
Dude, Morris is sweet, dude, and he's like, what is he's why doesn't that thing have a face? And he's like, what does he say? He goes, he's a little shy about it or something.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you guys see it too? He's like, now I know I'm not crazy. I think Aquafina calls it a pig chicken.
Pig chicken or something, yeah.
And he's all, Morris. So yeah, he basically leads them to. You know what we didn't talk about was the guy with the freaking one arm, Razor Fist.
Oh, Razor Fist, yeah.
And played by Florian Mundenio, who's kind of new to the scene too. But the reason I bring him up because they steal his car, and he's all, oh, you know, he's all sweet.
And then on the side of the car, it's like graffitied out, like it says Razor Fist.
It kind of reminds me of Guardians 2.
The guy Razor or Taser Face.
Taser Face. If Rocket ever meets with him in the MCU, he's gonna be like Razor Fist. So anyway, yeah, kind of like Iron Fist. Maybe that's where he got it from.
We don't know. Now you've just decrypted the Marvel universe.
Phase 12.
Get this guy on Phase 12.
I want to be El Paratelo or Paratelo Man.
Paratelo. Condiment King, dude.
Yeah.
That's DC, but never mind.
You're down. Yeah, so they go into this big chase, and they end up going to that forest where they find the city. Not a city, it's a village where Shang-Chi's aunt is, protecting with a bunch of other people that are just ready to battle, and they had that sweet-ass archer dude. He's like, that guy's all sweet. You know what I'm talking about? Dude, crazy, never-ending story-looking motherfuckers that are there.
It's called. I just want to say the village is called Ta Lao, Talo. But I don't know if I'm saying that right. But it's Ta Lao.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. But dude, that guy's sweet. The line. It's a never-ending story.
I thought the archers would be like.
Oh, that guy's sweet, bro.
Guy's sweet too.
That guy's Hua Yun, I think. He comes out. I know him because I love this movie. Yeah, dude. I know him from Kung Fu Hustle. I don't know if you've ever seen Kung Fu Hustle. Great freaking movie. He's in it, bro. That's how I know him. And in this another little side tidbit. In the beginning of the movie, when Shang-Chi is waking up, in the background, there's a movie poster of Kung Fu Hustle. And I was like, it's just sweet.
There was something else in the background, too, and I totally forgot what it was. But
there's a lot of little Easter eggs,
A lot of things. Yeah, dude, that guy is sweet. Teaches Aquafina to shoot the bow. And I'm sorry, but I already knew from a mile away she's going to be the one that shoot the last bow.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's the aunt, which is played by Michelle Yao as her Ying Nang. They basically give him tell him like, no, he's just hearing voices because behind that wall is what they're trying to guard, which is all these like soul suckers. That's what they're really called. No, they're called fucking like.
No, they're not called. No, they're not.
The sorrow suckers.
The sorrow suckers.
The sorrow suckers. So yeah, basically he's just hearing things because that's what they're trying to tempt him into opening this thing up. But they warn him like, hey, like. This is all gonna, he's gonna be coming soon, and then they start going, "Let's get down to business." No, I'm kidding.
And defeat the soul suckers. They're called the dwellers in the darkness. I think that's what they call them, refer them to.
Better.
I honestly, me too. The sorrow suckers.
But what about Ying Nan's little like when she's with Shang-Chi training him and she does her little like flowered thing? Like, dude, that part was pretty sweet.
You're talking about the leaves and stuff? Yeah, that is so.
That was super dope.
Dude, so beautifully shot, bro.
Very
I
beautiful.
freaking love that stuff, dude. And like going back to like what we're talking about, like the dad and the mom, right, when they're fighting, and how like it looks like a dance that's like with power and grace. You know what I mean? They do that again in this movie, and then you kind of see her teaching him the ways that the mother at some point when they do that little flashback when he's a kid and he's doing the same kind of movements or whatever. And I was like, dude, this is so freaking cool. Like they do such a great job.
Very beautifully done. But yeah, they all, train, they all get to talk and, have their little bonding moments. And then the battle comes in, the dad comes with everything. And then, obviously, they own the battle, and then they're like, "No!" to Aquafina's character, "You are not ready." And she's like, "Huh?" She gets all mad. But anyway, she comes back later.
Dude, I like how you did her little voice. It was sweet because she has a little raspy. She's like, what? "I'll take the shot,
Shang-Chi."
Sean.
Shang-Chi.
Now you sound like you were gonna say John Cena.
So yeah, the battle's pretty sweet. Obviously, Shang-Chi goes for his dad, which they have a little battle too. But he ends up getting defeated, and I thought that was the end of our little Shang-Chi as we knew it.
Yeah, dude, he actually, I like this scene because like, this is what sold me on the movie was he tells his dad, he goes like, "Is this what you wanted?" Remember that?
Yeah,
and he's like,
"You trained yourself. You wanted me to be an assassin. Is this what you wanted?"
Dude, that is such a sick scene. That like when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, hell yeah, I need to know what happens next.
This is what I want.
And then he kind of beats his dad's ass for a bit, like with that stick and stuff. But then his dad kind of like,
maybe you think he was kind of taking a little easy on him because I think from the beginning you probably could have messed him up pretty good.
Yeah, I think at some point you kind of realize, like we stated before, like there is a love, even though there's like all this craziness going on. But the main thing is like power divides them, right? And so I think Shang-Chi doesn't have also obviously the same power as his father, but like you can start to see that like they're struggling together, like to see like he thinks he can probably change his dad and tell him like mom's not there. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
he even says like your family needs you. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, and so Shang-Chi's down in the water, and this one his dad goes up there to release the sorrow suckers, and they start coming out, and they end up being pretty intense, and that's when the party downstairs, which is the fight on the other side.
I was like, the party downstairs.
The aunt's like, we're gonna have to work together. There's no way, like if you guys
and then raise your fist.
Like, and then he's all no, and then he ends up getting that one guy getting killed. He's all yes, I'm doing it wrong, but he's like, we will fight beside you, and they all, they're all forced to team up because of the sour suckers. But what about that scene? Okay, so Shang-Chi ends up coming back because there's a dragon. The dragon that's been the protector of the mom brings him back into the game. And the dragon
protector of the village, yeah.
And the dragon starts helping. And I love the scene between his dad and him because he ends up getting 5 rings and his dad has 5 rings. And this really reminded me of like Scorpion and Sub-Zero a little bit because of the colors.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Because it changes yellow and
sweet. Like how he has it like going around him. Like, and he's just like, dude, that whole battle was awesome. And like you said, like, you're sympathizing with both of them because, like, they're family.
Yeah, and then like the way he like Shang-Chi uses his like rings way different than his father, and like he's like stepping on them, and then he gives them a kick. You know what I'm talking about? Like he's in the air, like kind of like running. It's so freaking cool, dude. And then it was so well done, like that they had like this father and son dynamic that was like being like confronted there and then, you know, like they both had this feeling of like, you know, he loves his wife obviously and nothing like else mattered at that moment. It just was such a cool like little story. I think my favorite, another little part that I want to talk about, like a little family thing, was, you know, when he's explaining who he was, right? And he's did I tell you about all the names I used to have and who, like how I, you know, became who I am? And Aquafina's there, and then he asks her, what's your Chinese name or whatever? And he's like, our names kind of like keep us together with our past family and all that. But like he's telling them all the story about his mother and how they met and how he fell in love and how he lost her. And then he's all, but I think, you know, I'm ready to like kind of like move past that or something, rather in that sense. And then he looks at his daughter finally, because remember prior to that, his daughter tells her, Aquafina, I believe, like he wouldn't even stare at me anymore because I reminded him too much of my mother. Yeah. And that loss. So like
didn't even train her, but she trained herself.
Mm-hmm. So there was like this little like dynamic with the family, which is really neat, and I just think that all comes full circle at the end. That's why I kind of brought that back up.
Oh, yeah, very good, very good. So they ended up releasing the main sour sucker, and he's like super crazy looking.
Yeah.
And he starts fighting the dragon, and then like that's when they finally get to the point where like he realizes the mom wasn't there. It was they were right. And that's when, you know, Shang-Chi's like, oh, you know, your family needs you. And he ends up sacrificing himself to save his son. And he ends up getting the 10 rings. Let me tell you it was funny because this whole fight scene, it was a long one. Because, like, it was the little ground party. And then it was the dad and Shang-Chi. And then it was the soul suckers. And then, like, the dragon with the soul sucker. And then the big, you know what I mean? It just kept like opening out, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
shoot.
There's always something kept going and going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was cool, and it kept me engaged. Like, but yeah, they have the battle, and you know that's when, you know, the dragon ends up getting taken down. Like, because what they do is like they suck out, you know, they're literally sucking their souls out of them, and they're like, oh, if he gets if he gets our dragon soul, he'll be unstoppable. And that's when Aquafina, she's all. Then it ends up with the air.
What song is that, dude? That's
Spider-Man one. Sorry, I had to.
No, you're such a meme this song right now. I just was like, I know that song somewhere.
And then ends up, you know, getting him on the throat, and then that's when they end up like Shang-Chi really goes in for like the final powerhouse to defeat that thing, and then the poor little Master Wombo, Wombo, he ends up dying. How does he die?
That was sad. He just gets soul sucked.
That's right.
He goes, we need to aim for the throat. And then, like, that thing grabs him, and you're like, no!
That's when Aquafina does that face. She's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, of course she gets him good.
We make a good team!
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember that. And then, yeah, they end up defeating them. And I like the scene, too, like, where the sister is getting pulled in by the sour sucker, and she's like, you have to let go of me. He's like, I'm not going to leave you again. Like, I love that scene a lot. And he ended up saving her because I thought, you know, you think he's going to
let her go,
point.
yeah.
So, anyway, like it was just like a super well done end scene. Like, you're glad she didn't die.
Yeah.
And they end up defeating the sour sucker.
I like the way he defeats him, too. Like, he puts the rings in his stomach, and he's, like, kind of, like, doing, like this kind of martial arts in midair. And then he's like powering it up, and then he does that thing, and he like rips the intestines of the creature. It's it's really freaking cool, dude.
Yeah,
I just like that.
That whole thing was very well done. But yeah, they end up defeating it, and then, you know, they all gather and they have their little, you know, the tribute to everyone who's fallen, which is really nice. And then, you know, everything's all peaceful, and then it shows Aquafina and Simu Liu. They go back to, you know, the States, and they're meeting with I didn't mention this before, but they're meeting with the couple, right? They're their friend. It was like the wife and then the guy, and she's all giving him shit for being valet drivers. They're like, no, you guys got to do something in your life. But then they're telling the story about what happened, and they're like, that's bull. Like, that didn't happen. You're just messing with me, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, it really happened. And that's when, you know, Wong ends up opening his Doctor Strange portal. He's like, you have to come with me. I need you. And they're like, huh? And then they end up going, and it's like, they grab their little hands. It's all cute, and they go together. It's cute. And they end up going into this world, which gets a little talked about and I think so the end credit scene, what happens is, they're meeting with Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel, and they're talking about, I think it has to do with the Eternals, right? Is what I'm guessing. All right.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I kind of like the way they kind of made it seem was like there's like some part of the world that they need to visit, but they don't really tell you. And it kind of sounds like there's another pocket dimension is what I've assumed. So there's like something else that is coming out. Maybe it does go with the Eternals, because like in the Eternals trailer, you see that like they're talking about Thanos snapping his finger and it opens something up where these creatures are coming back. So maybe they're talking about that, but I can't really.
Yeah, I looked that up a little bit. It does say it has to lead. It's going to be leading into the Eternals movie.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
and like I said, I don't really know much about this history, so it's kind of hard to really be true unless I'm reading something. And then there's other post-credit scene is the sister is basically taking over the 10 Rings organization, and it kind of has like a little and one of the girls from Black Widow's there, if you didn't notice.
No, I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I don't know if it has to do with like the Black Widows or like what, but yeah, so she's taking over that whole operation. So, what about that sweet ass Anderson .Paak song that goes in?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Goes, what she do? I'm just kidding. No, it doesn't say something.
No, that's it. Where you at? Oh, you got plans. No, it's a different song. But it's so sweet, yeah.
It's a sweet song.
Dude, Anderson .Paak is a sweet guy.
He's a sweet guy. But yeah, that's Shang-Chi. I mean, I know there's a lot of things we kind of brushed over on Ernie. You touch up on anything a little bit here?
I want to go back to Shushu, bro. I'm just kidding. Shushu's the girl, the best friend that they have, the one that they talked to in the bar where you were talking about recently. Her name is Shushu, and Nora from the Bronx, or Nora from Queens, or whatever the show that Aquafina does. She comes out and she's sweet in the like a little episode, but. It's a really funny show. I really liked it a lot. I saw it twice. That's how I really enjoyed it. It was
seen things multiple times, so it's like
it's because sometimes when you and let me put this let me put this in food terms. Sometimes when you're like you want something to eat, and it's just like it's always gonna be good, so you'll go back to it, like a burger, a pizza. Where it's gonna be good. Like that's how I feel sometimes with certain things. So I'm like, I'll go back to like digest it. And I'm like, yes, this was good. I'm glad. That's just a fat thing I just said. But people are probably like, damn, this guy's freaking chunks. But you know what I mean? Like, so it's nice to go back and like rewatch it, because now I caught a little bit more things that I didn't catch on the previous viewing of it. But now I don't have a lot to say about it. Just I really liked her being in the movie. I felt like a lot of the cast were kind of like in a very similar circle of like people that kind of know each other. Like they all came from certain areas.
The Asian communities, like they're all supporting each other,
which is awesome. I freaking love that. Like I know, like
it's about time we get in.
Yeah, dude.
They're amazing.
Yeah, bro. I think this is the most culturally not charged, but I guess culture movie.
This movie gave me Black Panther vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like
definitely
totally different. Like and it works, and they both work so freaking well. Like and they're awesome. So it's like and like you said, I'm glad this movie did really well, because now they're like, okay, now we can do more. Yeah, all this crap.
I think one of the big things too is that it did well was that. If this movie didn't do well, I guess it was rumored that Spider-Man was going to get canceled and Eternals. I don't know if you caught wind of that.
Like that was like
so if this movie didn't do well at all,
canceled, it was just got pushed back.
It would have been pushed back to next year, but that would have sucked regardless. It's crazy because this is a random another little side tidbit. He had just come out. We both know China is not the best place to live because of what's going on, and I guess he had spoken out about it, friggin' Simi Liu, and so now the movie's not going to be viewed in China because of what he said.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's a lot of money. That's like, dude, they make a lot of money in China. Like that's like a big like amount of their market, their market and stuff for some reason. But it's just crazy like that this is all happening, and I'm glad that it did freaking well. Like But I'm glad that you said something about Black Panther. I want to go back to that real quick because I was gonna say this is the most culturally most movie that I saw that was like really deep in culture. But I think Black Panther was that, but it didn't do it as much as this one. I think Black Panther, the next one, I think Wakanda Forever, I think might take place in a little bit more in Wakanda, so we'll see more of their history and also like the culture there, which will be awesome. Because it's African, yes, but it's African in a different sense. This one was just very Chinese, had those like cultures and like gods and stuff like that you can go read about.
Yeah, exactly.
So which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and beautifully done. Like we said before, great movie. Definitely recommend you go see this movie. It is amazing. One of the top, and a lot of people I've talked to, is one of their favorites, and which is crazy, because like it's a movie we don't know. You know what I mean? It's like Guardians of the Galaxy or Black Panther again. Like just those out of those movies that aren't familiar with everything, like that just do the best. And I'm hoping we see more of it, and I'm excited for the future coming forward as far with like Eternals and all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you. I'm glad that it did well, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. For sure, obviously he's going to be part of the next phase, so like he's going to play a pretty pivotal role.
Interesting how it's all going to come together. Yeah,
one of my biggest after seeing it the third time, I was like, dude, I can't wait for him to meet Peter Parker. Like, it's going to be so sweet to imagine at some point he's going to be he's like, Peter, we're done with all the stuff that we just did. We can go home and rest, or and they go karaoke. You know what I mean?
I forgot about that scene too.
He's like, or
they're with Wong.
And dude,
that part was sweet. They're doing the Old Town Road and all this random. Oh, and the Hotel California song was like a big thing too. Which is like,
oh, yeah, that's true.
It's just dumb, but that's pretty sweet. But
yeah, it was great.
I definitely recommend this. Watch it.
Definitely, I agree.
It. Just get it.
No, I agree.
I feel like I think this is the first Disney movie that didn't come out with the subscription thing, right? Like from this whole time, because
from the whole phases, yeah.
I mean, Black Widow had it, so they didn't even have it at all, and I think they were just trying to prove okay, theaters are still back in action. Yeah,
and it was interesting because I think around this time, COVID Delta was kind of running a little more rampant, or it is, right? So a lot of people were a little bit more reluctant, but I'm glad that it brought them out of this. I think Fast and the Furious 9. Not surprisingly, but it did really well because it came out on the time when COVID was ending, remember, right? Everything kind of came back to normal, so it did really well.
We thought it was ending.
Oh, yeah, we thought it was ending. And then Shang-Chi came out, and I was a little worried because I'm he's not a well-known character, and a lot of people are going to be reluctant on watching it because of how they feel about the whole pandemic and stuff. So it's just I'm glad that it made its money and then some, to get us.
Let me tell you,
going.
My theater, I saw it the second week it was out, the second Friday, and it was packed, man. It was super packed.
Really?
And let me tell you about my theater experience because
yes, please.
I always do. I sat next to a guy who I don't know if he thinks the way he talks is low, but damn, he was loud. He was explaining to his girl, he's oh, that was so dumb. Oh, babe. I was just dude, I'm really? He was a younger dude, too. I'm just come on, bro. I was
damn, the way you made him sound like he was an older guy.
No, he was yeah.
He's hey, babe.
Voice totally wrong, but he's just oh, yeah. Of course that was dumb. I was shut up. I was dude, why? Why did you do this to me? And we were watching the trailers, and the movie Sing?
Oh, yeah.
Sing 2's coming out.
Yes.
It revealed it was that movie, and the guy's oh, yes! I was just oh my god. Look at the
Bono's in it.
I don't really care, but the movie, it's all right, dude. The whole time, and then during we were waiting for the credits, he was literally talking to his girlfriend the whole time, trying to explain. So I really enjoyed that they're going the more fantasy route. I'm just all these superhero movies are fantasy. What are you talking about? He's the magic and the mystic and the martial arts. I'm oh my god, this guy is.
Did he watch Doctor Strange? Tell him, dude. God,
I know this guy's funny.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
I had an experience, and from the three viewings I saw it. First one, guy loud eating popcorn, always a thing. That's always happens. Second The second time was a guy who freaking and I don't know why it was another guy. It was a guy going. I swear to God, like, and you know, like, this is nothing I can. There's nothing I can do. I think, like, I always say this. I think we're manifesting this because we're talking about it so much. It's happening even more. Either that, or we haven't remembered how much theaters kind of suck sometimes.
I think it always just kind of happened, dude. Like,
I don't remember this always happening, but like, yeah, dude, that one tripped me out where he's like, and I was like,
I thought you saw someone do the popcorn and threw it in his face. She's like. Oh, dude, that's sweet. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but we're not going to escape it. We're back to the movies, so
yeah. Thank God, dude. Honestly,
just embrace
I'd rather it be like this than not be like that at all, right?
Exactly. We come together. So yeah, that
come
is
together.
Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. Please watch this movie. Even if you're not a fan of superhero movies, you don't need to. You're just a fan of just a good old-fashioned action movie with comedy. This is it. Check it out. Check us out on Twitter and on YouTube, Quotables Cast. Ernie, anything?
No, that's it. Thank you guys again for listening. We always appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we missed a week, but we're back at it again. So definitely check us out. Leave some comments on the YouTube video. Hopefully you guys get to see it with our faces here. It's going to be uploaded sometime soon.
Cuter? We'll tune in next week with the answer.
I like the one with less hair.
Which one's that?
You, because that's true. Those who don't know, he has a sweater under his under his t-shirt, and I've asked him if he has it in a V-neck.
You're dumb.
He has a hairy chest, is what it is.
I think they got it.
Okay, cool. You know, you have to reference it.
Well, sometimes I ask him about a hairy ass, and I'm.
He said he was gonna because his chest is hairy, my back is hairy, so he was gonna shave my back so I could purr like a walrus.
Yeah.
What is it?
But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We enjoy having these conversations with you every week. And again, we are Quotables. I'm Lex.
And I'm Ernie.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.